I'm going to talk about our brand new 24 volt Tempest torch. We made some great changes from the last model to the new model. We think you're going to be really excited about it. I'll get right to it. I want to start out by showing you the differences between the new and the old torches. This is the old torch where you have the head of the torch gets mounted up on a pole or a pillar mount, and the components that run the system get remote mounted on a 10-foot control harness tethered away from the head. So you have the solenoid valve, the transformer, and the control module all mounted in this box remotely away from the torch head. The new system, we miniaturized the components and mounted everything but the transformer underneath the torch head. So the control module is here in this black box, the solenoid valve, and all the controls to operate the torch head system are now mounted directly underneath the head. This gives us a wide range of benefits. No more below ground components, no more water issues with the components, especially the challenges involved in the location of your torch with a 10-foot tether on the old torch. Should be able to overcome a lot of obstacles with this new torch. The installation should be much easier. On top of the service of all the components being right under the head, the transformer for the components is going to be remotely mounted. So from the transformer all the way out to the torch head, it'll be a 24 volt AC power service. So that falls into the low voltage codes. So on top of the other benefits, you won't have a high voltage code restrictions when you're burying the electrical and the gas line or running them together out to the torch head. So preparing for an installation of the new torch, there's really three things that you really need to know, wrap your head around, and understand going into the planning of the installation phase. The first one is the power service. So you'll get 110 volt service to a transformer. Remember to get a licensed electrician to perform this part of your installation. We're providing this transformer from Travis Industries. You have to buy this transformer separate. So that's part of the number one thing you need to remember. Buy the transformer separate. This transformer will run up to 4 torches on one transformer. You can put up to 7 of these transformers on one 15 amp circuit. So up to 28 torches on one 15 amp circuit, 7 transformers. From the transformer to the torch, you'll run 24 volt AC service. So this is a 24 volt AC transformer from 110 to 24 volts from the house or the service panel to the transformer, 110 volts. From the transformer out to the torches, 24 volts AC. This really lets us ease up the installation because there's no high voltage regulation codes that apply to the 24 volts out to the torches. All right, number 2 on the memory list for planning your installation is wiring of the torch. This is really critical that you really take the time and look in the installation manual and look at the wiring diagram chart that we provided. So there's 2 ways you can run wires from your transformers out to your torch. Pardon my drawing, but this is our transformer. So, and this is 24 volt service out to each of the torches. So remember, 4 torches per transformer. Low voltage wiring, you have to be careful with that because the longer the wire run you have, the more voltage that will drop over the course of the wire run. So it's critical that the torch receives enough voltage to operate the components, and specifically the hot surface igniter needs the critical level of voltage to get hot enough to ignite the gas. So following along on our chart, there's 2 ways that you can wire the torches from the transformer. One would be a direct run. That's when you just have your torch with a single run of wire to your transformer. That's what we call a direct run or home run. That will give you the longest wire lengths available for your wire runs from the transformer to the torch. The second would be a daisy chain, and that's when you take your wire from the transformer run it up to a torch, and then daisy chain it out to your second torch. So when you're daisy chaining the appliance, the total wire run distance you have in your electrical chart accounts for the total amount of wire you have between the transformer and the end torch. So if you take a second to look at the wire chart guide for a piece of 10 gauge wire, if you have 2 torches on it, your maximum run length for that wire will be 220 feet. So the total length on a 10 gauge wire can be 220 feet of wire for 2 torches. If you have extremely long runs, a single torch on 10 gauge wire, you can run up to 445 feet. So, and the wiring chart applies to just the length of the wire per run from the transformer. So on this diagram here, we have 2 runs from the transformer. We have this 10 gauge run out, maximum 220 feet. On this one, the torches were much closer, so we did a 14 gauge run. So we daisy chain these. On a 14 gauge run, if you look at your wire chart, you should see or understand that the total length of these wires can be 110 feet. So it's just really critical that you understand the relationship between the wire run and the gauge of the wire when you're dealing with low voltage wire. Make sure that you adhere to the chart that we provided in the installation manual. When we bought off-the-shelf wire, we bought some in from Amazon and went to Home Depot and got low voltage landscape wire, which is what you'll use to run from the transformer out to the torches. It's the cheapest, it's available off the shelf. The voltage drops, the actual voltage drops we got on the wire when we measured it were much higher than what an electrician's chart gave us off of Google. So it's critical that you use the voltage drop chart and the wire length guide that we provide in our manual, not one that you downloaded off of Google. All right, lastly, number 3, polarity of the torch. So polarity, when we say polarity, we refer to the power to the torch and then the return of the power from the torch back to the transformer. So the polarity is all the power to the torches have to be aligned from torch to torch. So on the power input wires to the torch, we have a white wire and a white blue wire. So the white blue wires must never come in contact with a white wire when you're doing multiple torches on a transformer installation. If you just have one torch to the transformer, the connection of the power wires to the transformer, it doesn't matter. But as soon as you go with more than one torch on your installation with your transformer, the polarity comes into play. So it's absolutely critical that whichever way these get hooked up to the transformer, that all the torches get hooked up the same. So the white wire and the white blue wire never come in contact with each other. If they do, what will happen is once you apply power to the service, you're going to damage the internals on your control module. The first symptoms of that, the torch will probably start cycling up and down and eventually quit working altogether. But we don't want to do that, so just keep in mind polarity is critical. This neon tag right here is a single statement just about the polarity. There's a full page warning in your manual about the polarity. The polarity is also mentioned in the transformer instructions. So we put it in there everywhere we talked about wiring of the torch, and it is absolutely critical that when you're wiring the torches, the white wire and the white blue wire do not get connected to each other. So when you connect to the transformers, because it's an AC circuit, it doesn't matter which way they get connected to the transformer as long as they're all the same. Now you'll find on your low voltage wiring, it's a two-strand wire. One of the strands will have writing on it, and the writing will be continuous from one side to the other. So if you have 400 feet of wire, just find the one with the writing on it, and that'll be the same at both ends to just make it easier to tell which is which. Okay, we're going to wrap up this training session with, we'll talk about a couple of the accessories that changed. So, needless to say that with all the components fitting in the head, we had to make a couple changes. We made a change to the wall mount accessory system, and then we made a change to the pillar mount accessory system. The wall mount, the horizontal support tube used to be a 2x2 tube. Now it's a 3x3 tube. So aesthetically, not much difference, but when you take it apart in the pack, that is the big difference. So the tube changed, the cover changed, how you mount it to the wall, how you run the electricity and the gas through it, that's all exactly the same. I did want to mention that when you buy the new wall mount kit, this base plate, the piece that attaches to the building envelope, that did not change at all. So all the new hardware for the new wall mount will bolt directly on to the old base plate of the old wall mount system. So if you ever need to upgrade an old wall mount to a new wall mount, there's no need to take the piece off the building and get into the siding and any of that. You can just unbolt the brackets from the inside of it, and all the brackets for the new wall mount, they'll bolt right up to the base plate on the building envelope. You'll probably notice, if you read the manuals, you'll notice we made much clearer the warnings on negative pressure. It's really critical on any commercial building, all residential, that any penetration from the wall mount to the inside of the building is completely sealed. So, and not just stuffed with some K-wool or fiberglass insulation. We want it silicone, we want it completely sealed. If the negative pressure is strong enough within the building, it can pull not only the heat but also the flames down into the base of this, the head assembly. And before, with the old system where you would get a couple melted wires, in the new system we have all the components directly below the head assembly. So it's really important that any penetration into the building is completely sealed. That also applies to if you're doing a post or a pillar mount on the roof of a residential or commercial building. Make sure that where the gas line and the power come out of the building into the base of the unit, that those get completely sealed. The second item or accessory we changed on the unit is the pillar mount. The old style pillar mount was 6 inches tall. So the new style pillar mount is 11 inches tall. We had to increase that distance here so we could have room to fit the components and make the gas line connection within the pillar mount. So those are all the changes we made on the accessories. Good luck with your new Tempest torch.